I'm Natalia Lemarki, and today you're watching Space Chats. Today I'm talking to Agnieszka Lukaszczyk.
Hi, nice to be here.
It's great to host you in Space Chats and listen about your career and your career advices. A fantastic guest with a lot of experience. Can you tell us a bit more on what are you doing in Planet?
Sure. I've been working for Planet for 3 years now. I'm a senior director for European Affairs, which is a bit of an unusual position for a commercial company. I deal with policy, strategy, some regulatory affairs, a bit of business development, but I mostly deal with governments and international organizations.
Sounds really interesting. Why did you choose space? What do you like the most about space industry?
Well, it's fascinating industry. My story is not a typical story, I would say. I didn't really choose space. Space chose me. So I didn't really dream of or think of working for the space sector. I was actually studying international politics and security and was very much hoping to work on something that is going to make this world a little bit better, as cheesy as this might sound. So I've been applying everywhere, left and right. And my actually first job was the Space Generation Advisory Council, which is an amazing youth organization. And that happened kind of accidentally. I wasn't really quite sure what that was all about. I give it a chance and never look back.
Strongly encourage everyone to join SGEC. This organization really gives you a lot of opportunities to work collaboratively with people from around the world. Is this what you are the most proud of? Can you tell us a bit more on your achievement?
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of SGEC. SGEC was an organization that when I first joined in 2006 was not in such a good shape at the time. It was heavily underfunded. There were not enough projects. There were not enough volunteers. And it wasn't very well organized. So we have worked extremely hard to build something out of it and to give the voice to young people so that they could really engage in this sector, no matter where they are, no matter where they live, make sure that they have this sort of exposure and awareness that they should have. And we work really hard, and SGEC right now, it's an amazing and very strong and very credible organization. So I'm extremely proud that I was part of that movement. And it's really been my baby, I feel like I put a lot of energy and my heart and soul into this, and it was definitely worthwhile.
It's a fantastic achievement. Your career is very international. Can you tell us where are you from? And is space industry developed in there?
So I am originally from Poland. I have a dual nationality, Polish and American. So I spent a pretty big portion of my life in the US. In Poland, I come from a small town in the Polish mountains where nobody's really thinking about space except looking at the stars, which are very beautiful over there. So in Poland, especially when I was starting, it wasn't really something that was on the table, I would say. And a lot of things have changed throughout the time. Poland now has its own space agency. It is also a member of the European Space Agency. So those are extremely important steps. The industry, especially the small and medium enterprises, are growing. But there's still a long way to go. And hopefully we will see even more development there.
Yes, hopefully we look forward to that. So you talked about your first job in the space industry. What do you think helped you to get it? Which skill set helped you get it?
Well, there's a difference what helped me to get it and what helped me to keep it. And I think those are very different skill sets.
Tell us about it.
What helped me to get it, it was really, a lot of it was really pure luck. I was at the right place at the right time, I guess. I don't think that I was really well prepared for it. Sometimes but this is also, I think, it shows that it's very important to have your eyes open and really try new things and things outside of the box. If somebody would tell me that I would work in the space sector at that time, I would probably laugh. And I'm so glad that I decided to try something completely new and something completely out of my comfort zone, let's say. And because that was really it turned out that it was really my true calling. So that's probably the advice that I can give, is just be open-minded and don't be afraid to take risks. What kind of helped me keep the job is that I was genuinely passionate about it, and I was genuinely interested, and I worked extremely hard. And along the way, made some good decisions, made some bad decisions, but hopefully the good decisions outweigh the bad ones.
Well, looking at your career for sure. and you said that you didn't have the career goals clearly defined when you started. But can you explain how your career goals evolved?
It's a tricky question, because I believe that there are what I call two different schools of how you plan your career. There are those who really have it planned out, and then they have goals, and they have 2-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, and they are very consistently doing everything that is going to get them to that goal. There's another school which I identify with, is that you don't plan really. I mean, what you plan on is to grow, to learn new skills, to work really hard, but you keep your eyes open, your mind open, and you are available for new opportunities. A lot of my jobs after SGEC and with SGEC starting were not planned. Those were not really my goals. I'm very ambitious, but I'm ambitious in a different way. I'm ambitious that I want to grow, I want to advance, I want to move up, but I don't necessarily have a particular job in mind or a particular path in mind, because life changes all the time and we have to be ready to take those turns.
It's wonderful that you just touched on the ambition, which doesn't mean exactly the career goals, because young people might be pressured that they have to take the decision being very young to set their goals for the next 20 years. This is unreal.
But I also believe that when you're very young, when you just finish university, you really don't know what you want, even though you might think you do. A lot of times you don't, and it's totally okay. You don't have to have it all figured out. So that's why you try things, and some of them work out, some of them don't. But if something does work out, then be as good as possible as you can be. Do your best. Let the work speak for itself, and that's going to lead you to the next things.
So you're the best example of achieving great career following what you love to do. But can you tell us about what was your biggest difficulty or the biggest challenge?
I think it's and maybe this is a lot. It's very similar to many other people. It's just a self-doubt, I think. I entered the sector at the beginning that I didn't know anything about. I felt very unprepared and incompetent, frankly. And so that led to some sort of insecurity. And I felt also being a young woman in this very male-dominated sector meant that I had to prove myself even harder and prove that I had a voice and I had something to say. And then there was a message behind that voice. And it wasn't just my message. It was a message of this whole entire youth base or volunteer base that I was speaking on behalf. So I really wanted to make sure that I am professional and I'm an added value. And I think many times later on, when I was, changing jobs and changing a bit profiles, there was always that learning curve, always. And always at the beginning, you're thinking, oh, what did I just do? But I know nothing about this thing. It's part of life. You have to get through that and have confidence that you are at the right place. And if you don't know things, it's okay, because you can learn. You can always learn. Like we humans learn our entire life.
Just focus on learning, self-development, and education.
So you have to find what you're good at and stick to that. A lot of people think that, in order to work in the space sector, you have to be an engineer or you have to be a rocket scientist. And I'm not. And I'm doing okay, but I also don't plan to, build rockets. I found another niche within the space sector where I am an added value. But there's not a specific field that you necessarily need to get in order to succeed. It's very important to remember that space sector is extremely inclusive, and it really requires and needs all kinds of people for it to work well. So we have economists, lawyers, doctors, people who do marketing, PR. Obviously, there are all these technical positions as well. But if you're passionate about the sector, but you don't feel extremely confident in becoming an engineer, that's okay. You can really excel in something else. Just make sure that you are really doing something that you feel strongly about.
But still, the statistic shows that the women represent only 20% of the space industry, which is similar to what was happening 30 years ago. Do you think that space industry is at all attractive to women?
I think it's very attractive to women. I know a lot of young girls who are very passionate and willing to work in the space sector. I do think it's a difficult sector, but just so many other sectors are as well, and especially when you look into the kind of high tech area. I do see a lot more women coming in, which is a great thing. I think what we are missing more right now is women in management positions. So there's a lot of junior people who are women or any sort of minorities, but we're missing them at the decision making level. So when you look at the CEOs, when you look at the heads of space agencies, it's very rarely that you're going to have a woman there. There's still that sort of glass ceiling. I think it is slowly changing. We're trying to break it, but that's where we need more women for sure. I'm not too worried about young women. I think they are, they're strong and they are persevering. But we just need to make sure that they actually have a path to grow.
And I think this is a good advice for women that are starting to also join networks and reach out to mentors to help grow their career. So what is your contribution to make space industry more inclusive? You're doing quite a lot.
Well, I'm trying to be active. I was very lucky and fortunate that when I started, I have stumbled upon all kinds of very, very good people who have been extremely helpful to me, and they have become my mentors, and most of them I'm still in touch with till today, and they have really kind of pushed me in the right direction, and we're always there to offer advice, and I think that's really important to have that when you start your career. So one of my mentors actually told me, because I asked him, why do you spend so much time with me? And he said, well, because somebody did that to me. So it's all about paying it forward. And I think this is the key, to pay it forward. So when we feel that we have arrived somewhere and that we are in a position to help somebody else, we should do it. And a lot of it is, it's very kind of unorganized and informal. Like, for instance, I meet young people at conferences or other places, and they contact me just to talk about their career and ask for advice, and to make sure that I find time to do that, that I actually, we all busy, everybody's extremely busy, and everybody's busy, this is the world we live in. But it's important busy is not an excuse. Organize yourself better and find time to actually, because that 30 minutes that you're going to spend with that person can really make a difference in their career, in their life. So I'm really trying to be very adamant about it. If somebody reaches out to me, to find that sort of time. In addition, more formal kind of initiatives. I'm still very much involved with SJC. I was on the advisory board for a long time. Now I'm on the honorary board, so I talk to these guys and offer my advice. I was on the board of Women in Aerospace, and was quite active in that. And now I'm more active on the local level here in Brussels, where I live. And I even started this initiative with another colleague here in Brussels, Space Ladies Night Out, where all the ladies actually, because as we were talking about, the sector is very much dominated by men, and sometimes we just want to get together without men, and so that we can get to know each other and network, but also just be friends, and hang out and have a drink and enjoy each other's company. So so these sort of things. I also go to universities from time to time and give lectures on career, on their career, and give advice. So little things, but hopefully useful.
I really like that you try to turn it into fun as well.
Yeah.
That it doesn't have to be this formal mentoring. It can be
No,
also becoming friends. That's
exactly.
what advice would you give to young women or young people generally to start in the space industry?
So I mean, it really every case is a bit different. But in general, kind of main advice is don't you do not have to have everything figured out at the beginning. It's okay not to know. It's okay to be confused. It's okay not to have a plan. Um, I think it's very important just to be engaged and be active. This is how people notice you. If you engage, if you're active in all kinds of volunteer opportunities, I always advise people to get involved with SJC because that really helped me a lot, and you build a huge network and contacts. And as you know, we live in a world where contacts are everything. So get to know people, make sure people get to know you and what you're good at. So not just socially, but also, that they can see your work. And keep applying, uh, be be determined and don't give up. I think it's sometimes, people get it a little bit too far in that. Like sometimes I get emails or messages on LinkedIn, people asking me, for a job. Like I'm not a miracle worker, I cannot just create jobs out of nowhere. Like I am happy to advise. I am happy to refer somebody if I know that there's a position open somewhere. But it's not, it's not so like sometimes you're a little bit turned off because they're a little bit, don't be too aggressive and don't be too pushy. Sometimes I feel there's a little bit of humility missing. But everything will come, and I know it's very difficult, especially at the beginning, to get that first job. Just the journey is never full of roses, but it's exciting nevertheless.
I think what you also mentioned is that really the real mentor wouldn't give you the exact solution. It's more trying to um, answer the questions for yourself. So the mentor
Exactly.
was just point you
Exactly.
to this.
And I can, to add to that, like if a mentor sees that you're very serious and you're very committed, if they do know of a job, like for sure they will let you know about it, and for sure they will recommend you. So it's not like it's gonna come. Like if there is something on the table without you having to like ask for it.
I encourage everyone to reach out to the communities, as Agnieszka mentioned, SGC and Women in Aerospace. And in the meantime, when you are still planning your career, you can watch other episodes of Space Jobs.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Agnieszka, for this interview and for sharing your advices and your experience.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Great. And I wish everybody to achieve their career goals. Such as
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.